Hey everyone, welcome back to Installation 00. This is a particularly special video. I'm still getting set up in my new place, but this one was too important to leave alone. In this video, we'll be looking at Halo and trying to figure out what makes Halo, Halo. But you won't just be taking it from me. I have 11 other major Halo YouTubers lined up in this video to give their own opinions on today's subject. And after we've heard from all of them, we will summarise what the general consensus from everyone's opinions are, and I'll be looking at the comments for your opinions too for a possible chase-up video sometime in the future. So now that's all been said and I've whetted your appetite, let's get to it. The main questions I want to answer here are, what is Halo's best moment? What parts of Halo did everybody enjoy the most, or least if appropriate? And why does Halo keep people coming back? Personally for me, Halo's best moment is a difficult question to answer. Typical that I'd pitch a question too complex for me to answer in a sentence, but I'll give it a go. And it sure as hell isn't going to be a sentence. Halo probably had its best moment during the lead up to and slightly after the launch of Halo 3. It was a game that broke records in practically every way it could have. The advertising for the game was amazing, and you had the instantly recognisable trailer with that powerful single chord played by Marty. The Chief walking out from the dust and grit looking beat up and scratched. The Starry Night trailer, where you get a hazy flashback of Chief's earliest, calmest memories and his sudden aggressive return to chaos. His unshaken, solid voice speaking only 2 words with all the weight you could possibly expect from a hero of his magnitude.
I think we lost him.
Not yet.
The live-action trailer showing retired war veterans being led through the memories of the battles that they had fought and the glimpses of the Chief that they had amid the chaos and fog of war. The Believe Monument, the augmented reality games, the community buzz, and finally the launch of the greatest game in history to that point, and the countless records it broke, and the awesome times enjoyed by all. That must have been Halo's greatest moment in my opinion. The bit I enjoyed the most was in Halo 3 when fighting the Covenant on Earth, they suddenly open a portal and pass through, and after finding the message from Cortana we set off in pursuit with no knowledge of what awaits us on the other side. We're suddenly greeted by the Ark, by Installation 00, the birthplace of the Halos, and it's truly massive. Its environments are massive and beautiful and eerily familiar yet alien at the same time. It was a moment of grandeur which still sends chills down my spine. And as for what keeps me coming back, it's the deep narrative, the lore, that is one of the largest, most expansive lores of the gaming industry and touches notes and tones that very few other games appear to. And really, the thing that makes this even more enjoyable is the countless number of people who love Halo as much as I do. The community has made Halo not just a game, but a family. A place I know I can find kindred spirits, impassioned conversations, debates, and hysterical laughter at the insane stuff we've all gotten up to within the Halo universe. But just hearing my opinion is biased as hell. I'm not the is-all and end-all of Halo knowledge, and ultimately, different perspectives and different interpretations will always yield different results. So in the interests of covering all bases, let me hand you off to some of my fellow Halo YouTubers and let's hear their opinions on the main questions of this video.
Hey guys, this is EckhartsLadder. I was asked by Installation 00 to talk about the greatest moments in Halo. Now, I think it's hard to look at that objectively, so I want to talk about a couple of my favorite. Immediately when I was asked this question, I thought of one of the final scenes in Halo 3. Master Chief and the Arbiter have just escaped from the Ark. On the forward onto Dawn, Master Chief is climbing up towards Cortana, and behind him, Installation 04 explodes, taking the Ark with it. There's just something visually I love about that. Chief standing in front of the podium, Cortana rising, and the Ark exploding like a flower behind them. But I think there are other, perhaps greater moments. In Halo 1, for example, the obvious one is stepping on the ring for the first time. But I think a less common one is actually again from Halo 3. The first moments standing on the Ark, looking up and seeing the Milky Way galaxy in the distance. There's just something very strange about that place. It feels ancient, it feels dead. It feels like somewhere you probably should not be stepping foot on. Halo 3 really did a phenomenal job of creating atmosphere and mystery on the Ark. The Forerunners felt long dead, and it was almost like you were standing in a place as old as time. All of this is made even more creepy when you find the first terminal. There's weird characters, you hear whispering, and you're reading the details of this incredibly ancient battle for the galaxy. It's all really, really cool. Then of course you take that and you have some of the series' greatest levels, including the Covenant and the Ark itself. All in all, stepping out on the Ark is my greatest Halo moment.
Hey guys, HiddenXperia here, so let's get straight to the point. I have many best moments in Halo. It's really hard to narrow it down to one. In fact, even the one that I've chosen isn't my only favourite moment. I have so many, but as you can all imagine, one of my easily top 5, if not top 3 favourite moments is the original reveal of the Flood. I just feel like the build up to it was so good. The whole setup for 343 Guilty Spark was so eerie and creepy, starting off with the first cutscene where you actually see the Covenant running from something and it's not the UNSC. It really sets the tone. The dark mist of the swamp, the sound design, the empty Forerunner facility, the dead bodies, the destroyed buildings. Really well designed, and I mean, of course, it all culminates in one of the best horror reveals in any game ever, I'd say. The Flood reveal originally was so good. I loved Halo 2's as well, and also Halo 3's. I love all of them, but I mean, the original Combat Evolved Flood reveal is just unparalleled to me. The bit that I enjoy the most about Halo is, again, another one of those questions where I have 3,000 answers for it, but if I had to just narrow it down to just one, I'd probably say classic Halo gameplay. There's something that I find really rewarding about the simplistic classic gameplay of the original trilogy. It sort of has a really low skill floor, so anyone can sort of play it and just chill and navigate maps and campaign levels, but at the same time, it's got really high skill ceilings, so if you put in the time and you sort of research the maps and the campaign levels and the environments, you can start to exploit certain ledges and stuff by crouch jumping to them and navigating the areas and evading the enemies in the areas in sort of a manner that the developers never really intended, but never really prohibited. I'm not sure if that makes any sense. A good example of that is Halo 2, for example, where Halo 2's campaign mission design was really sort of free and open. Not necessarily intentionally, but there were very few barriers. You could really just go anywhere, and by grenade jumping, crouch jumping, and doing a load of other tricks, you could sort of navigate maps in really unique ways, and that keeps me coming back, I think, for both the campaign and also the multiplayer. Now, based on what I just said, I think that the bit about Halo that I enjoy the least is probably quite obvious given what I just said. It's enhanced mobility, including things like sprint and all the other stuff from Halo Reach onwards. I find it really hard to play Halo Reach, Halo 4 and Halo 5 for any extended period of time because the gameplay just feels like it has so much of the skill sapped out of it. To me at least, it doesn't feel as deep or as meaningful as classic Halo gameplay. Having to lock yourself into an animation that stops you from shooting or meleeing or throwing grenades, to traverse the environments in the sort of correct manner, the way that the developers intended you to me at least, isn't really that fun. I get the whole idea of people wanting to feel like Spartans, but I don't know. The way that I see it is that in classic Halo gameplay, with no sprint or any of these other things like clamber, you were always sprinting. You could just shoot at the same time. You didn't need clamber because your Spartan could jump high enough to crouch jump onto ledges. It's an argument that's never going to have a resolution, I don't think. People are going to argue about this forever, but personally, my sort of taste is that I prefer classic gameplay, and enhanced mobility really sapped a lot of the fun and enjoyment out of traversing environments, again, both in campaign and also multiplayer. And as for why Halo keeps me coming back, well, I'm sorry, Mr. 00, but you're getting 2 answers for this one. I have far too many answers to just give one. So, the first answer that I'm going to give is the classic gameplay loop, that old tried and tested combat triangle of grenades, melee, and shooting. It's so addictive. Halo's gameplay loop is so unbelievably addictive. It's, to me at least, never aged. I can still have as much fun playing Combat Evolved now as I did back in 2002 when I first played it. There are very few games out there for me whose gameplay has aged as little as Halo's, and I pin that down personally to the classic gameplay loop, the combat triangle. And the second reason is another obvious one, I think, the lore. Halo's lore is just unparalleled for me. It's the first universe, and actually one of the only universes in like gaming or TV shows or movies that I've ever delved into properly. There's a few others, but I don't think I've ever dived into a universe as much as I have Halo's, and there are reasons for that. There are very obvious reasons for that. There's something for just about everyone in Halo's expanded universe, and I feel like that's why it's got such a broad appeal. And one of the biggest things for me as well as that is the fact that there's so much room in Halo's universe for theorizing about the future. There are so many plot points and unanswered questions that have yet to be addressed fully, and that leaves loads of food for theorizing, which is something that I absolutely love to do. So, thank you, Mr. Installation00, for having me on. I appreciate it. I'm sorry if this is too long, if I spoke too much. When it comes to Halo, I find it very hard to stop talking, quite honestly. But yeah, on to the next one.
Hey there, Spartans. Halo Canon here. Installation00, thanks for having me back. For me, and I'm sure this is no surprise, the best part of Halo is its story. So, the best moments for me are the story-driven ones. One of my top moments would easily be the goodbye to Cortana in Halo 4. It was the culmination of a journey the two had been on together since the start of Halo CE. Another is the reveal of the Arbiter as a playable character in Halo 2. While his levels aren't my favorite, the willingness to take on and explore something new is one of my favorite aspects of any universe, thanks in part to Halo. One of my favorite moments in the games is Captain Cutter's speech in Halo Wars 2. It really cuts to the core of Cutter's character, pun intended, and gets the player just as pumped for what's to come as Cutter's crew. Though probably my favorite moment from the canon comes from a book, no surprise there. That being the supposed death of Admiral Cole. He ignites a brown dwarf to take out a Covenant armada. Besides being the epitome of rule of cool, it's the culmination of Cole's character, of his years of fighting both humans and aliens, and his legend. Now, getting away from story, gameplay is something I still put a lot of stock into. Generally speaking, I love anything about gameplay elements that further immerses me into feeling like a Spartan, such as Spartan abilities, and even some of the armor abilities from Halo 4 specifically. That said, while I enjoy this stuff in campaign unabashedly, multiplayer is a mixed bag to say the least. Spartan abilities in general I can defend, but armor abilities less so. If they were to work more like equipment, maybe. Sprint though is probably top of my list for things I don't like in Halo. Halo 5 does sprint best, I think, but the trade-off does not make for as fun a game as Halo's without sprint, or something like Mythic Arena. In terms of map design, I'm just gonna say it, Blood Gulch is a horribly overrated map. It's too open. I don't like maps where you can see across to the enemy base so easily. Coagulation improved on this a little, but Valhalla is peak when it comes to two bases in a box canyon. I don't mind long sightlines in a map, in fact, I certainly enjoy those, but they need to be limited in some manner, broken up, if that makes sense. Elongation is a great example. Long sightlines, but plenty of cover to weave around. Now, what keeps me coming back to Halo is, surprise, surprise, the story. Or more accurately, the narrative experience. When I started with Halo, my main method of engagement was the books, and that remains true to this day. My first Halo game, though, was Halo 2, often praised for its storytelling, and I would say for good reason. But, like I said, narrative experience. Gameplay is just as essential. You could tell the best story in the world, but if your gameplay and level design aren't up to snuff, it's going to be hard to remain invested. The game that can balance a fun experience with an investing story is the game that will win me over. So, basically Halo 3 ODST.
Halo for me is a game that provides a lot of mystery, and why I love it is because of how much it has me asking questions, what the purpose of this is, what's beyond this cliffside, and who actually made this. My best moment in a Halo game is actually at the end of Halo 3. Seeing Chief peer over Cortana is a really personal moment whilst the chaos behind them runs its course. The beautiful juxtaposition of the calm and the chaos is the beauty of Halo. The franchise has always had a personal character-driven moments, but the worlds are just as much a part of the characters as the people themselves are. It was an all-around moment in the game where it showed off every single element that the game has to offer in a moment of breathing space where you had time to reflect on this incredible journey you've just been on, which still sticks in my mind to this very day. What I also enjoy the most about Halo is the worlds you visit. I honestly don't think that any other franchise has worlds that interest me just as much as Halo's do. There's always the idea of what's beyond this canyon, and throughout my childhood I was always desperate to find a way to get out of each individual map and explore more. However, in later titles the developers did become a lot more restricting in this regard, and part of the fun with Halo games was gone for me because there were barriers implemented everywhere and patches were consistently being added to stop the fun. I'm hoping that Infinite takes more of an exploration approach in terms of the core mechanics, so then I don't have to worry about breaking out of maps, I can explore to my heart's content. Then lastly, in terms of what keeps me coming back, it's the story and desperately wanting to know where the Master Chief's journey goes next. There's a reason why people went crazy when they saw Chief again in that initial Infinite trailer, and it's because the fans lost track of him, and having him in the centre circle again satisfies all fans, because at the end of the day, no matter what we all like and dislike in Halo, whether it's gameplay, art style or modes, we all have one thing in common, and it's the Master Chief and our love for him.
Hello, I just want to give my apologies in advance if my audio sounds like it's recorded on a paper cup phone. I'm currently unable to access a decent recording setup due to the virus I dare not name, so my S6 will have to do for now. Let's get into it. When Installation asked me to participate in his video, I jumped at the offer, because the Halo franchise is something I care for deeply. It's not only shaped my taste in entertainment, but shaped my interest as a person. It's not very often a piece of media does that for me, and Halo is probably the most impactful video game I've ever played. I think, unequivocally, the absolute best moment in Halo is Halo 3's legendary ending. It perfectly sums up your reward for playing. You get to rest. No fancy medals, no accolades. Hell, he's barely even on the memorial. But that doesn't matter to a hero. You did what you had to do, and you're right back where you began in 2001, in a cryostasis chamber, waiting for the day when, once again, the hushed casket would be unsealed, though unbeknownst to you, your lost vessel is pulled into the orbit of a long-dormant, mysterious Forerunner world, signaling that your hero days are far from over. Now, that said, what do I, personally, enjoy the most about Halo? What am I playing for? Why am I getting invested? Long and short of it, my favorite aspect of Halo is the community itself. That's not to downplay the games by any means, but I feel like the community is such a big part of who I am now and how I've changed over the last few years. Not only have I made a lot of friends through it, but it's helped me learn a lot more about the franchise, everything from obscure past development secrets to entire stories within the canon I never knew existed. However, being an admittedly mediocre artist myself, a lot of the discussions I have about Halo concern its artistic direction over the years, and without the community, I'd have not considered a lot of what makes Halo's art so spectacular. Beyond that, it's fun just to have an entire community of shitposters dedicated to keeping the franchise alive with memes. I don't really go into detail about it often, but I originally created DHCR Core as a bit of a gag page, not only making fun of the core page trend, but also it was just something I didn't expect to take off like it did. That said, I'm very happy that I've stuck with it, getting messages of encouragement from people, even if just to say that my awful memes are appreciated. It really brightens my day and makes the community feel like a family of sorts. Sure, I love Halo itself, and the games themselves are fantastic, but it's the fan base that makes it extra special to me, personally. And since I'm kind of already bleeding into it, why does Halo keep me coming back? I've been playing Halo since 2005, and while many people from that era have lost interest, I've firmly stuck around with it for the most part, aside from maybe 1 or 2 hiatuses that I took. I'm closely following Halo Infinite news, and I'm awaiting even more Halo on PC at the same time, if not for myself, then for the community at large. But why? Why does this franchise that's only a few years younger than I am still have my attention? As I've mentioned, Halo's art has always been a fascination of mine. Without it, I'd likely have a greatly diminished interest in becoming an artist at all, let alone improving my skills for the future. I used to draw all kinds of stuff as a kid, but Halo is what made me want to take that to another level. I remember looking at all its characters, enemies, environments, skyboxes, vehicles, and weapons, and thinking, I want to be able to make things like this in the future. And it's safe to say that without my art, I might not even be here today. It's done a lot of good for me, and I'll just leave it at that. As for the actual games themselves, what keeps me coming back is the intrigue of what's coming next. Sometimes it's thrilling, sometimes it's a little disappointing, but for the most part, every Halo game has given me something to love, even Halo 4 and 5. With Halo Infinite on the horizon, with most of our criticisms seemingly addressed, at least artistically, I can't help but be excited and a bit nervous at the same time. Lastly, I want to emphasize that a big part of me returning again and again to Halo, as it's a game friends can play with me very easily. Split screen is as important to me as Xbox Live, if not more so. And Halo 5 put me off the franchise for nearly 2 years as a result. Playing split screen has made some of the most unforgettable memories of my childhood. And while the visual space is limited, the fun with your screen peeking buddies absolutely isn't. To top this all off with a pat on the head, I want to say that Halo is something that I've enjoyed since I was 7 years old, and I'm very grateful to Installation 00 for giving me an opportunity to talk about it for a bit. Is it shill time? I think it's shill time. You can find my memes and my terrible posts on Facebook as Delta Halo Control Room Core, on Twitter at Delta Halo CR Core, and you can join my Discord server from there. I'd also like to add that I have a Teespring, and if you're into Covenant stuff, definitely give it some attention as this season has more content coming soon. Thank you all for having me, especially you, Installation 00, and thank everyone watching this video for listening.
My name is Same Token, and I make YouTube videos about Halo. And this is because I honestly think Halo is one of the greatest franchises in the world. It inspires creativity, forging friendships that otherwise would never have flourished. Halo, to me, is a universe to lose yourself in, a community to thrive in, and, frankly, time well spent. One of my favorite moments in Halo was back in 2008 when I convinced my parents to buy me Xbox Live Gold. My friends from school and I loaded up Big Team Battle, boarded a Warthog, raced towards the enemy team, and immediately died in a spectacular blaze of incompetence and wonder. I always loved Halo, but playing with friends solidified it as a game that, to this day, I can never put down. Though it made me realize maybe I should stick to custom games. There are very few bits in Halo that I don't enjoy, but there are some that I enjoyed less, which can be summed up with 3 words: legendary, regret, and jackals. But despite my many failed attempts at dodging insta-kill snipers coming from all directions, I'll still happily repeat checkpoints time and time again until there are controller-shaped holes in my walls. And on the other hand, there are so many areas I love coming back to. For instance, Mombasa streets in Halo 3 ODST, the unique perspective, the music, the atmosphere, it all comes together to create a warm feeling of sentimentality. There's something about Halo that will always bring me back. I'll hear something that sounds faintly like the piano chords from Marty O'Donnell's Halo 3 soundtrack, and I'm like, well, guess I'm playing Halo tonight. And so, while it's partly nostalgia, throwing me back to a time when life was simpler, Halo ultimately brings me back time and time again simply because it sounds amazing, looks amazing, and above all, feels amazing to play.
This is the Chrillcast. I'm Chris.
And I'm Will.
And Installation 00 has asked us a very important question.
Why does Halo suck?
Nope. He's got a first question is, what is Halo's best moment?
Alright, so in my opinion, the best moment is when you get off that drop pod for the first time on Halo in the very first game, and you go from the claustrophobic interior of the ship to this wide, expansive environment. I still remember that moment to this day when I first experienced that, and my jaw just dropped.
Right.
And it still looks good to this day. Yeah.
I would say Halo's best moment has to be the Warthog run at the end of Halo 3. I think it's literally the best. And the only thing it's missing, which happened in Halo CE, was the timer. But
yeah, the timer would have made it better.
The second question is, what are the bits that we enjoy the most and least about Halo?
Alright, well, everyone's going to say the music and gunplay, so I'm going to go with something different. I love the shotgun, the needler, and the plasma grenade. And then things I like the least, can I name full games? I'm kidding. I don't like the Mauler, and I will say that in some of the games you feel kind of floaty, and you're moving around a little bit too quick, and kind of sliding, so I felt that way in Halo 3, and I felt that way in Halo 4.
I would say the bit I enjoyed the least was not finishing this fight. I'll never get over that.
You're talking about Halo 2?
Yeah, I'll never get over that.
Yep.
But second place...
I actually enjoyed that ending, but...
The second place would be fighting the Brute at the end of Halo 2. I just don't like having to rely on... I don't like relying on AI to finish something. But the bit I enjoyed the most probably is the music. I don't think I would be as into Halos as I was growing up without the music. I just can't think of something more iconic to Halo, other than the Warthog chase scenes at the end, than the music itself. Especially the load screens. It's like... Do you
remember the original Halo 2 load screens and how long it would take?
Yeah.
and it would fill up the halo as part of the loading bar.
Yeah.
And you just like pray that it's like slowly goes across the screen, then it would go back a little bit. You're like, no.
Yeah, like 3-4 times by the time you get through it.
Yeah.
And then his final question: why do you keep coming back to Halo?
The feeling of being an epic super soldier and these epic, sci-fi environments. I love sci-fi, so it already has that hook for me. But also feeling like a BA, mowing down Covenant and, flood infection forms and stuff. And just, this the overall feeling of the game. So the combination of gunplay, music, environment, art style, it just blends together so well. It just, no other game really matches it, in my opinion.
I mean, it's such a fleshed out world for a first-person shooter.
Yes.
But the thing that keeps me coming back, Cortana. No, I'm just kidding.
Particularly Cortana Halo 4.
No, but probably just the vehicle combat and the music. Like, it's got some of the best, like, most entertaining vehicle combat of any first-person shooter I've ever played in my life. Even on the Fireteam Raven game, being on the vehicles was so interesting. And
that's why I dislike Destiny so much, is because where are the vehicles at?
Yeah, actually, that was the first thing I noticed about Destiny. I was like, there's no vehicles. Like, what is the point of this? I just love in Halo 2, just for example, on the bridge, you hop in a Scorpion tank,
that's an awesome Metropolis. Oh my gosh, it's such a great level.
And I can't think of something that's ultimately my favorite part of Halo 2 than that level. That's probably my favorite Halo 2 level, is just going after the Scarab. Love it.
Yes.
And then you take down the Scarab, and it's like, okay, now what? What's next? I just took down this massive thing crawling across Earth. What's next? So, anyway, that's a wrap, huh? Thank you for bringing us on here, Installation 00. I know you're picking all the biggest Halo channels. So, Chrillcast is obviously up there, huh?
Yeah, clearly. It's in the name, Chris.
As always, I'm Chris.
And I'm Will.
And we will see you
on the next Chrillcast.
Howdy folks, it's GeneralHeed here. How's everyone doing today? So, you may remember me from my YouTube channel, GeneralKid, and today I'm here to answer a few questions about Halo for this video. So, what is Halo's best moment for me? Well, there's quite a few moments throughout the Halo series that I really love. In Halo 2 and Halo 3 especially, there's a lot of epic campaign moments that never get old for me. But as for the best, well, I probably have to say the Halo 3 Warthog run is the best moment for me, as cheesy as that might sound. It's just a really fine driving sequence and really fun driving sequence to do, and it's, overall pretty epic. Plus the ending cutscene after that was pretty nice too. But the bits of Halo I enjoy the most are typically vehicle missions, where you do a lot of driving or flying around. Really, any vehicle sequence I always enjoy a lot, no matter the Halo game. Because Halo has really good driving mechanics for an FPS game, and there's always so much more you can do with the vehicle, glitching-wise. If you've seen my videos, that is. But as for the bits I like the least, well, if we're talking about campaign, that'd be parts of missions, especially in Reach, where they're like mini firefight missions where I have to keep waiting around for waves of enemies before a door opens or something. It just drags the mission out, and I don't know, I prefer to breeze through those parts of missions instead, if possible. But outside of campaign, I actually don't enjoy competitive multiplayer very much. I'm just not that type of Halo player. I really prefer the social and other casual game types, as far as multiplayer goes. And custom games in Forge. There's a lot of really fun game types there as well. I used to play so much Infection back in Halo 3 days, so that was really great. But competitive multiplayer, I don't know, it's just not really for me. I do play it occasionally, but it's not my most favorite part of Halo. But anyways, moving right along. So Halo has been around for quite a while now, but what keeps me going back is being able to mess around in campaign and Forge and other game modes. There's just so much to do, really. And it's kind of like what my YouTube channel is built around. But you see, the maps are actually really huge in campaign and custom games, and there's always so much to explore and almost always a lot of interesting things to find. There's also a lot of modding potential and really fun and cool things you could do and learn with modding in Halo. So Halo is really just overall endless fun for me. Always plenty to do, no matter what.
Halo's best moment for me wasn't in any of the games themselves, it was the marketing for Halo 3, specifically beginning with the E3 trailer all the way up to launch. That E3 trailer is something that has never been topped in my eyes. I've never seen something ever manage to hype me up the way that it did, because it had everything in it that I feel is quintessential Halo. It had the tone, it had the music, it had the look, it had the mystery, you know, the Master Chief coming out of that smoke with his armor all battered and bruised, and then looking out of that enormous storm as the portal opens under a fleet of Covenant ships. It was intense. And the months following that trailer were so exciting because I would pay attention to everything Halo 3. You would see so many fans inspired by Halo doing crazy stuff, and it got so hyped that it made national news in the US. Gaming history, really. What I enjoy most about Halo is the memories that it gave me. When I was a kid, I would play Halo CE with my brother on split screen, and it would be a real bonding thing for us. I can remember being an idiot and not knowing how to fly the Banshee in CE, and I'd sit there and scream and cry at the TV because I couldn't do it, and my brother would grab the controller like, just give me that, you idiot. And he would be my hero, because he would just do it. For something that I like the least, I would have to say maybe the divide that we see in the community sometimes, and even then, it's not that big of a deal to me, but funnily enough, that's what keeps me coming back to Halo. As cool as the games are, the community is just so much more creative and inventive. It's not to say the games aren't, I mean, there's just so many people out there doing incredible things because they love Halo. There's an artist called Rythaze who does gorgeous Halo pieces from time to time. There's a composer named Yafet Meza, I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing that, who does both renditions of existing Halo music as well as his own original pieces. We got people like Masters and his team responsible for the SPV3 mod, the people behind Installation 01. We got people like Extreme Noob, Brian Johnson, the 405th, and so many people that are making props, cosplays, and so much more. There's forgers who have made things that blow me away. Tote Take with his Mitaki machines, Unsorted Gaming with his rendition of Wipeout, community people like Uber Nick, HiddenXperia, Late Night Gaming. There's so many people that you could talk about, and I get it. There's a lot of similar people and activities going on in other communities, but this one feels special to me because it was the only one that made me feel welcome. And I don't know how I could ever properly put that into words, or maybe it was something like this, I don't really know, but yeah, that's what Halo is to me. It's family, fun, community, and I love it.
Greetings, everyone. I'm Nakai Vodar.
I'm Major Thesk.
And I am Drakel Studios.
And we are the Cubby Squad, the name that I made up for the main cast of Covenant Canon, Halo's best moments for us. For myself, I would have to say the opening of Halo 2, when we were introduced to the Arbiter and the whole structure of the Covenant, his trial and his transformation into the Arbiter that we know and love today. It brought out a new side of the Halo universe, and it greatly expanded its lore universe. Knowing that, it transformed me into the Covenant nerd I am today.
My second favorite moment in Halo, without a doubt, is Assault on Sunayon fight. It contains everything I love in the universe. It's kind of dipping into number 2, but it contains everything I love, from the Swords and Helios cooperating Spartans, just this big military action scene, and of course, explosion.
Completely fair. And I'll admit, Nakai, mine is very similar to yours, but I have to say the entirety of Halo 2's journey with the Arbiter, since you don't often get to see the villain side in stories, but Halo has done a pretty good job showing off the villain. And like, again, Halo 2, we got to see it in Halo Wars, we see it frequently in the lore, and just Halo 2 who made the world see this is not just some simple shooter game where you fight off aliens. No, there is a richness to the story, and each time it does expand. Even in its dark moments, we still get a little bit of just expanding the worldview. It's not just one perspective, it is a universe.
Number 2, the bits that we enjoyed the most and least from Halo. The bits that I enjoyed the most are, of course, the Covenant side of Halo. From, like I said, the Arbiter's journey throughout Halo 2, and from Halo 3, and continuing that into Halo 5. It honestly keeps me more hooked into Halo as as I am today?
Well, I'm going to have to say I enjoy the setting of Human Covenant War as well as the post-war era, and that's because it's the sheer depth of both eras. You got this massive, all-encompassing war during the Covenant of humanity, and then you got all these really interesting splintered factions, goals, and aspirations in after the events of Halo 3. And what I love about that is just there's so much complexity, just so much story, and just it's going to sound pretty lame to sum it up. Just so much depth lore in both eras that we're still getting books about them to this day, even after Halo 5's
Personally, for me, the best part of the Halo franchise is straight up the characters. I love the characters because they supply the story. I like the character of Master Chief, not my favorite, but I do like the story that they roll in with Halo 4, this broken young soldier. I love the Arbiter and his deep and complex lifestyle, how he rose to be like the king of the board, to become a lesser pawn, to now becoming the galaxy's greatest savior. I love Atriox for his brutality. I love him for his cunning. I love him for his difference. I love the Prophet of Truth for his manipulative abilities. I love Cortana for her smarm. It will also tie into my third point. The characters are the best part of the Halo franchise, because without them, then we wouldn't really care about the universe as much. To seeing what's going to happen in the universe, because we know there are people that we care about. Veta Lopez, Ritas Vadum, Uze Taham. At the end of the day, the Didact even. All these characters mixed together to create this beautiful franchise.
Okay, so, and the last one is why Halo keeps us coming back. For me, no surprise, it's the Covenant lore within Halo. And not just the Covenant, the elites, the brutes, the prophets, the grunts, the jackals. Like, the lore behind these cultures, these civilizations, these honestly intrigue me, and knowing more about their lore always keeps me come back and always inspires me to make more content.
So, for the most part, what keeps me coming back to Halo is what I said in the last 3 points. Like, those big moments in the game and books, along with the interesting settings that have a ton of story potential that we still keep seeing. That's what keeps us going. But overall, I'd have to say that what I enjoy about Halo most is it's just fun. Like, the books, they're fun to read. They can be aggravating, but they can just be fun to read, all the action. And of course, the video games, I mean, come on. It's fun to fight the Covenant. Heck, it's even kind of fun to fight the Prometheans now in Halo 5.
And for me, my point is similar to yours, although also tying into my last point. Again, the characters are what keep bringing me back to this franchise. And it's not just the official characters that we love to see in the video game that we get excited about. I love it when people come up with their own characters because the universe inspires them that much further. I love the character of people playing online. I like Ubernick and Talkwin and people like that. Just having that character to them, that joy, as you play through the game in your own special way, that comes down to your character along with the franchise's characters. It's just, it's a swirl of characters. And again, it's just every time there's like a new character, it's like, okay, what type of character are you gonna get with this? Bring back an old character. At the end of the day, the characters are what just keep attracting me to the franchise.
And that does it for Covenant Canon. If you guys love Covenant topics, head over to our channel, and if you love what you see, please hit subscribe for more Covenant topics.
Thanks to each and every one of the YouTubers who wanted to weigh in on this subject and give their opinions. So now we've heard what each of my special guests had to say, let's see if we can find a consensus on exactly what makes Halo, Halo. From a story perspective, it seems that the most seem to agree that the quiet, peaceful moments and chances to reflect rank as significant and noteworthy moments. The awe-inspiring mystery and the ability for these quiet moments to deepen the mystery and make the louder, more chaotic moments all the more intense. The environment and the ability to explore and get creative, to build and to destroy, and the freedom to go anywhere you please and do as you please, certainly in the earlier games, is a popular feature. The music and its ability to invoke such sensations, memories and nostalgia to make you feel 10 feet tall and able to literally carry the world on your shoulders, and its ability to suddenly snatch that away and instill fear and dread and anxiety at the monstrosities that lurk in the darkened corners. Its ambience and beautifully composed pieces that take you on an auditory journey that parallel the actual storyline is something very few games and even fewer composers have the talent to achieve. The more classical playstyle and freedom to find your own ways around engagements and use a relatively simple toolset, but a devastating effect if you put the man-hours into mastering the battlefield. The extended lore and the trailers of unparalleled quality and ability to portray in moments the entire feel of the game and the universe that we have all fallen in love with. But chief among all of these is the social aspect of Halo. The community, you guys, everyone, the friendships that have blossomed, the creators and prominent community figures, the masses of fans who can meet each other for the first time and yet speak instantly like they've known each other their entire lives, bonding over a game. The memories of our childhoods and how dearly we treasure those moments and memories. It is startling to realise that all of this has risen over a video game. This is quintessentially why games are so significant, why Halo is so significant. It engaged and inspired an entire generation of people. It brought people together into a compelling, beautiful and wondrous universe and gave people inspiration to make things within that universe, as well as transcending that universe into the real world. And for me, Halo defined my childhood, my teenage years and my early 20s. It forged friendships with people I'll likely never meet. It brought real life friends even closer together. It gave me the inspiration to make content based in its universe and draw all of you people to it, due to our mutual collective love for this universe and the very love of life itself. Halo Infinite is on the horizon, and while I look back and remember what once was, and occasionally get emotional enough about how far in the past it seems and how lost I fear I may have become to who I once was, and how far detached it now feels like I am to friends I thought of as brothers in arms, I also look to the future with hope. Halo is a direct link to the memories of a younger me, and I imagine I'm not alone in that whatsoever. It's a carefully crafted universe that is almost an analogue for our own reality. It is a warning not to become a machine, not to be led into a forced reality where all we do is toil and work and completely miss the wonders and mysteries of the universe in which we exist. Halo shares our history up to the modern day, and it is entirely dependent on the lives we live today and the choices and projects and technologies we chase today as to whether what is possible in Halo in 500 years is possible for humanity in real life in the same time or less. And all of this is driven by the community, by us. This ultimately is a massive oversimplification, and to be fair, my full thoughts on what makes Halo Halo and what it means to me is something I've covered and received exceptional response for in my video Remembrance. The link is in the description. If you want to walk down memory lane, that video is for you, but really when it boils down to it, what makes Halo Halo is us. And there really couldn't be a better way to end this video. So with that said, thanks for watching. Stick your comments down below. I look forward to what you have to say. Thanks so much to EckhartsLadder, HiddenXperia, Halo Canon, Ultimate Halo, Delta Halo, Same Token, Chrillcast, GeneralHeed, TehSpearhead, and Covenant Canon for their opinions in this video. Links to all of their channels are in the description, and if you haven't subscribed to those guys, you bloody well need to. You guys are awesome and a constant source of inspiration for me and the community at large, so thanks again for everything that you guys do. I want to give a quick shout out to my patrons: Neek the Silent Cartographer, Brian, Sebastian, Red Sea, Darian, Stalker of the Realms, Falcon X003 and Mr. Fell, the Holders of the Mantle, Black Biscuit, J Rabbit, Austin, Kaiser, Silax, Reclaimer 216, The Revanche, Wolf Slim, Andre, Samantha and Jake my Reclaimers, Zach, Deep Cover, Verbal Statue, Spesigo, Spartan A498, Guppy, Josh, Bastion, Molshar, Nightrise, Sierra G059, Kenneth, Dylan and Daniel my Metarchs, and all the other patrons that have done to support the channel. You guys are awesome and all of this wouldn't be possible without you. If you like Halo lore discussed to insane levels of detail, hit that subscribe button and the little bell icon so you're told the second a new video hits the shelves. Be sure to support us on all major social media channels including Discord, and if you really love the channel, consider heading over to Patreon and supporting the channel over there. It would mean the world to me and would free up more of my time for me to put into this content and other Halo related goodness. Take it easy everyone, and find peace in the domain.